The whole vibe of Seattle is that it's a city built on layers of secrets, constantly trying to rebrand itself. From being called the Queen City to the Emerald City, it's always had a glow-up. But underneath all that polish, it's the same old story of power, with a queen running the show for ages. The main character, Fire, wakes up to find a whole other person yapping inside their head. This new mental roommate, Fabian, claims he's a vampire detective, which is a wild career choice. Now, he's trying to solve the mystery of his own missing body from inside Fire's. Fire is rocking a mysterious mark on their body, basically like getting tagged in real life without consent. Fabian, the voice in their head, thinks someone is trying to claim Fire, probably because they're packing some serious power. The big question is who, and the vibes are not good. The escape is getting real, with cops swarming the area. Fire has to pull off some low-key superhero moves to get past them without breaking the masquerade. It's all about staying hidden from the mortals while dealing with this whole new mental roommate situation. The stress is definitely high. It turns out Fire has been taking a century-long nap and has woken up in 2024, which is a total system shock. Fabian, the freeloader in their brain, has to give them a crash course on the 21st century. It's a lot to process after being out of the game for so long. The plot thickens as Fabian realizes Fire is basically a legend known as the Nomad. Apparently, the Nomad only shows up when major chaos is about to go down, which adds a whole new layer of pressure. This discovery makes Fire's presence in Seattle even more mysterious and significant. Fire is feeling weak, and it's not just from the century-long nap. That weird mark on their hand seems to be nerfing their powers. Fabian suggests they retrace his last steps to figure out what happened, starting with a bar he vaguely remembers. The investigation is officially on. They run into the local sheriff, a Bruja named Benny, who's got major beef with Thin Bloods. The encounter is super aggressive, and Benny basically tells Fire to get out of Seattle within 24 hours or it's open season. It is not the warmest welcome to the neighborhood. The big reveal finally drops. Fire didn't just wake up with a new roommate, they actually diablerized Fabian. That's the vampire equivalent of consuming someone's soul for a power-up. The only problem is Fabian's consciousness stuck around, which is definitely not part of the deal. Now that the Diablerie is out in the open, the mission has shifted. They need to get Fire officially recognized by the Prince of Seattle to move around freely. But Fabian has a bad feeling about the current Prince, Campbell, and suggests seeking out the former Prince, Lou Grand, for protection instead. The meeting with Lou is a total trip. It turns out Fabian was working for her, and she was expecting him with a new recruit. Fire, now introduced as Fabian's new child, has to navigate this weird high-stakes vampire court where everyone is giving off majorly suspicious vibes. Things take a wild turn when they learn that Prince Campbell is dead, like decapitated dead. And just like that, Lou's other child, Ryang Choi, is the new prince. The city's power dynamic just got completely scrambled, and Fire has walked right into the middle of a political firestorm. On the way out, Fire meets Isabella Moore, a Toreador artist who is intensely creepy and immediately fixated on them. She runs a club called the Atrium and invites Fire to some special event. It's clear she's another major player in the city with her own twisted agenda. Arriving at Weaver Tower, the new seat of power, Fire finds it overrun by anarchs. They have to fight their way through to meet the new prince and run into Tally, a Nosferatu who's all sarcasm and sass, guarding the way. The city is clearly not handling the leadership change well. Fire finally gets to meet Prince Ryang Choi, but the meeting is tense. Ryang reveals that Fire's dramatic awakening caused a masquerade breach, and now there's a price to pay. The politics in this city are no joke, and Fire is already on thin ice with the new management. To get on Ryang's good side and earn their place in the city, Fire has to deal with a problem. The rogue sheriff, Benny, who has gone on a thin blood killing spree. It's a classic do my dirty work quest, and Fire agrees, setting up their first official task for the new prince. Back at their haven, Fire has a vision, and suddenly Fabian's memories come flooding back. They see a past case involving a murdered ghoul at a bar called the Maycomb. This flashback is the first real glimpse into Fabian's life as a detective and the events leading up to his demise. In the memory, Fabian investigates a strange mortal girl named Pandora, who has been sent with a cryptic message. She's been mind-wiped and programmed, pointing to a larger conspiracy. This dive into the past starts to connect the dots between Fabian's last case and Fire's current situation. The memory gets even darker as Pandora is revealed to be a ghoul named Mara, who is found brutally murdered, staked with rebar and decapitated. The murder scene is theatrical and clearly a message, with a method that points to a legendary hunter known as the Rebar Killer. The dream ends, and Fire and Fabian are back in the present, realizing the Maycomb bar is the same place they're supposed to meet Prince Ryang. The past is literally haunting their present, and it's clear that Fabian's old case is far from closed and is somehow central to everything happening. Fire tracks Benny through the city, following a trail of chaos and violence. The hunt leads them through Anarch territory, forcing Fire to fight their way through waves of angry vampires who are not happy about the sheriff's rampage. It's a full-on combat zone out there. During the hunt for Benny, Fire finds a ring with a symbol that matches the mark on their own hand. This is a massive clue, suggesting Benny is connected to whoever captured and marked Fire. The mystery deepens, linking the rogue sheriff directly to Fire's personal quest for answers. Fire finally corners Benny, who has been captured and encased in concrete by the anarchs he was hunting. He's defiant and uncooperative, hinting that he knows more about the mark, but refusing to spill the details. He warns Fire not to be a pawn in the Camarilla's games. Just as Fire is about to take Benny, the Anarch leader, Katsumi, shows up and wants him for Anarch justice. This forces Fire into a difficult choice: honor their deal with the prince or hand Benny over to the Anarchs and potentially gain a new ally in the process. Fire delivers Benny to Prince Ryang and, as a reward, is appointed the new Sheriff of Seattle. This is a major power move, giving Fire authority and resources, but also tying them directly to the Camarilla court and all its messy politics. The stakes just got a lot higher. As the new sheriff, Fire is immediately swamped with requests. Ryang wants them to check in on Lou, Tally wants them to investigate Isabella's weird club, and Sophia, a Tremere scholar, asks for help rescuing her kidnapped ghoul assistants. The job is already proving to be a lot. Fire successfully rescues Sophia's ghouls, but one of them, her most beloved, has been killed. Sophia is devastated, revealing a more vulnerable side. This act solidifies a bond between Fire and Sophia, who promises to research the mysterious mark on Fire's hand in return for their help. Fire pays a visit to Lou, who is in the middle of a full-blown dramatic episode. Lou tasks Fire with educating her new gangrel servant, Nyx, on how to find suitable food for her, specifically mortals who are rich and sad. It's a weirdly specific and very on-brand request from the former prince. Fire meets with Katsumi, the Anarch leader, who asks for help dealing with some rogue Anarchs who are breaking the Masquerade. It's a fragile alliance, but it shows that Katsumi is willing to work with Fire to maintain peace, positioning her as a more reasonable leader than she first appeared. The Anarch's Fire was sent to deal with have kidnapped Max, Benny's sire. Fire has to rescue him, further complicating the already messy relationship between the Camarilla, the Anarchs, and the remnants of the old sheriff's crew. Max is now indebted to Fire and tangled in city politics. Another flashback hits. This time, Fabian is investigating a new case involving a death threat and the Rebar killer's signature cross. This memory introduces Verona, a mortal woman who seems to be the target, and shows Fabian starting to connect the dots to his old, cold case. In the memory, Fabian digs into the archives, confirming that the Rebar killer, also known as Santiago, was a hunter who took out several powerful kindred back in the 1920s. He realizes the new threat is either the same person or a copycat, and the court is in danger. Fabian's investigation in the past leads him to a ghoul who was stalking Verona. The ghoul was tasked with delivering the death threat. This confirms the threat is real and directly tied to the kindred world. Fabian realizes he needs to figure out who the ghoul's master is. The memory reveals a twist. The death threat was not for Verona, but for her twin sister, Ravina, who works at Isabella's club, the Atrium. Fabian realizes he's been chasing the wrong person and has to rush to the Atrium to prevent another murder. Fabian arrives at the Atrium too late. Ravina is already dead, killed in the same ritualistic way as the other victims. The memory confirms the killer is targeting mortals associated with vampires, sending a message to the entire kindred community of Seattle. This is a direct challenge. The memory shifts to a party at the Camarilla court from years ago. It shows the key players, Lou, Rosalind, Gideon, Sophia, Fletcher, and their complex relationships. This scene provides crucial context about the court's power dynamics before its eventual collapse and the rise of Prince Campbell. At the party, Lou gives Fabian a new assignment to investigate a disruption in their liquor smuggling operations from Vancouver. She suspects someone in law enforcement is involved. This task pulls Fabian deeper into the court's criminal enterprises and sets him on a dangerous path. The flashback ends with the murder of Lou's sister and co-prince Rosalind at the party. She is killed by the Rebar killer, right in the heart of their power. This event shatters the court's stability and shows that no one is safe from this mysterious hunter. Back in the present, Fire arrives at the Atrium to find a bloodbath. Isabella has created a horrifying art installation using drained mortals. It's a massive masquerade breach. Her followers, completely under her thrall, are part of the gruesome spectacle. Isabella has completely lost it. Fire confronts Isabella, who reveals she's part of the Sabbat, a fanatical vampire death cult. She taunts Fire, calling them a frightened rabbit running from the sword of Cain. This confirms a Sabbat conspiracy is active in Seattle and is likely behind much of the recent chaos. The fight with Isabella is intense, both physically and mentally. She uses her powers to try and dominate Fire, but Fire resists and ultimately destroys her. This act stops the immediate threat, but leaves a massive mess for Fire as the new sheriff to clean up. Following a tip from Tally, Fire looks for the court's secret keeper, a Nosferatu named Willem. They find his haven overrun by what appear to be Sabbat ghouls. It's clear the Sabbat are making moves and trying to eliminate anyone with knowledge of the court's secrets. Fire finds Willem, who is terrified. He reveals he was being blackmailed by a mysterious figure known as the Gardener, a Malkavian who is forcing him to compromise the court's security. Before he can say more, he uses a strange power to trap Fire in a mental maze. Trapped in Willem's mind, Fire learns the truth. The Gardener is forcing Willem to destroy all of the court's records in a suicide bombing to sow chaos. Willem reveals the Gardener's identity before the bomb detonates, seemingly killing Willem and leaving Fire unconscious. Fire wakes up in a strange, idyllic garden, a mental projection from the Gardener. The Gardener speaks in riddles, revealing he has a personal vendetta against Lou and is using the Sabbat as a means to an end. He also implies a deeper connection to Fire's past. Another memory trip. Fabian is investigating the murder of Dale, the thin-blood alchemist. Dale was killed in the signature Rebar killer style. Fabian realizes Dale was a ghoul and his patron is a key part of the puzzle. The case is getting more and more personal. In the past, Fabian questions Willem, who was Dale's patron. Willem is clearly hiding something and is terrified. This memory establishes the connection between Willem and the ongoing murders, showing that he was involved long before the Gardener blackmailed him in the present day. Pushing further, Fabian uncovers a huge secret from a much older memory. Willem was the first fledgling of Isaac, the Nosferatu primogen who was one of the Rebar killer's original victims. Willem witnessed the murder, but his memory was clouded by fear and his new powers of obfuscation. Back in the present, Prince Ring is furious about Willem's death and the loss of the court's records. Sophia is heartbroken. Ryan confirms the Sabbat are the primary threat and tasks Fire with uncovering their plans, starting with the mysterious Gardener. Sophia reveals her research on the Mark. It's an ancient binding ritual, and she believes the Sabbat are connected to it. She needs access to forbidden texts that Lou confiscated decades ago. She asks Fire to retrieve them from a crypt beneath St. Stephen's Church. Fire retrieves the books but is ambushed by Sabbat ghouls. It's a trap, but they fight their way out. This confirms that the Sabbat knew where the books were and are actively trying to stop Fire from discovering the truth about the Mark. Tally, frustrated with the loss of Willem's knowledge, sends Fire to the SPD to retrieve a secret ledger kept by Benny. This side quest is meant to recover some of the court's lost secrets and give them an edge against their enemies, but it puts Fire in a risky position. After getting Benny's book, Fire gets a new lead from the Anarchs. Verona, the mortal who survived Isabella's massacre at the Atrium, knows more about Isabella's Sabbat connections. Fire tracks her down to get more intel on the enemy. Fire speaks with Verona, who describes Isabella's inner circle. They weren't just followers, they were fanatics who were collecting and storing massive amounts of blood. This is a crucial piece of intel, suggesting the Sabbat are preparing for a large-scale ritual or attack. another memory of Fabian's. He investigates the murder of a biker pinned down with rebar. The witness, Max, has had his memory wiped. Fabian realizes the killer has mind-altering powers and is targeting people connected to the kindred world. A mysterious pregnant woman is also seen nearby. Fabian connects several cases of memory loss to St. Stephen's Church. There, he finds the mysterious pregnant woman, Misty. She is a Malkavian, like him, and is being hunted. She reveals the killer is also a kindred, a brute working for the court. Misty reveals the truth. She was the ghoul of a kindred named Hector, and was pregnant with the child of Johnny Campbell, Lou's enforcer. The court was hunting her to eliminate the child. Hector was killed trying to protect her. In her dying moments, Fabian embraces her, creating a new vampire. Ryang reveals her plan. The Sabbat are hiding in the Seattle underground, the buried ruins of the old city. She sends Fire down to investigate, but not alone. They are to be accompanied by Nyx, the gangrel who has been acting suspiciously. It's a punishment for Nyx and a mission for Fire. Deep in the underground, Fire finds Nyx brutally killed. It's clear she stumbled upon something she wasn't supposed to. Fire follows the trail and discovers horrifying malformed creatures, the Sabbat's shock troops, known as the Unbirthed. The threat is worse than they imagined. The IAO, a group of high-tech vampire hunters, storm the underground, having tracked the Sabbat activity. They are a third party in this war, indiscriminately targeting any vampire they find. Fire is caught in the crossfire between the Sabbat's monsters and the hunters' advanced weaponry. Fire escapes the immediate battle and confronts Lou, demanding to know how to get deeper into the underground, to the heart of the Sabbat's territory. Lou, terrified by the mention of the gardener, admits she sealed that part of the city off long ago and gives Fire a secret way in. Fire finally confronts the gardener in his illusory sanctum. He reveals his true motive. He is a Malkavian whom Lou betrayed and imprisoned decades ago. He has been orchestrating the chaos to get his revenge on her, using the Sabbat and Fire as his pawns. The gardener reveals the purpose of the mark. It was meant to weaken Fire so that another consciousness could be implanted into their body. He then offers his own power to Fire, urging them to commit Diablerie to gain the strength needed to destroy Lou. Fire refuses and destroys him instead. The immediate threat of the gardener is gone, but the IAO hunters remain. Their leader, Agent Baker, is a formidable opponent. Fire now has to deal with this new, highly organized enemy, while the Sabbat conspiracy still looms over the city. The court is in disarray. Riang wants to take a defensive stance against the IAO, while Lou argues for an all-out attack. Lou frames the Anarchs as Sabbat collaborators, manipulating the court to her own ends. Fire is caught between the two powerful leaders. A final, devastating memory reveals the truth. The gardener was Gideon, Fabian's sire. Fabian realizes Lou was the original Rebar killer. She murdered her rivals, Rosalind, Hector, Isaac, and framed it on a mythical hunter, then imprisoned Gideon when he got too close to the truth. With all the pieces in place, Fire now has to navigate the final power plays of the court. Lou wants them to lead a purge of the Anarchs. Ryang is losing control, and the IAO are still a major threat. Fire must decide who to trust and how to end the cycle of violence. Fire confronts the IAO leader, Agent Baker, who reveals she is dying of a terminal illness. She offers Fire all of the IAO's intel in exchange for the embrace. Fire makes a controversial choice and turns her, gaining a powerful but unpredictable new Chilled. With the IAO threat seemingly neutralized by Baker, Fire must now deal with the internal politics. Sophia's research finally pays off, but the answers are grim. The mark is a binding ritual, and its creator still exists. Lou makes her final power play. She demands Fire act as her personal scout for a hunt, a clear assertion of dominance. She specifically requests a mortal who matches Verona's description, showing she has been watching and manipulating events all along. Fire gets a message from Sophia to meet at a conservatory. It's a trap. The Sabbat ambush Fire, and it's revealed that Sophia has been working with them all along. The woman Fire rescued from the crypt was an imposter. The court gathers, but it's too late. Lou arrives and reveals Sophia was killed by the Sabbat. But then Lou asserts her old power, effectively retaking control of the city from Ryang. She declares a blood hunt on the Anarchs, blaming them for the Sabbat infiltration. Lou orders Fire, as sheriff, to execute Katsumi and wipe out the Anarchs. It's a test of loyalty and a brutal strategy to consolidate her power. Fire is forced into an impossible position: obey and commit genocide, or defy a prince and start a civil war. Fire tracks down Katsumi, but they are interrupted by another player, a mysterious, heavily armed kindred who reveals Lou has been playing everyone. This new figure explains that while Fire was busy with the Anarchs, the Sabbat would be making their real move on an undefended Weaver Tower. Fire races back to Weaver Tower to find it under attack. The imposter Sophia is there, revealing her true identity. She is a powerful Sabbat leader and Gideon's lover. She orchestrated everything: the mark, the Gardener's madness, the chaos, to destroy Lou and take Seattle for the Sabbat. The fake Sophia reveals her grand plan. The mark was meant to hollow out Fire so Gideon's spirit could possess their body. Fabian inadvertently blocked this by getting there first. Now she intends to use Fire's body herself and unleash an army of unbirthed from beneath the city. In a desperate gambit, Fire, with Fabian's guidance, leaps from the top of Weaver Tower into the morning sun. The sunlight burns away the Sabbat's influence and severs Fabian's connection, leaving Fire weakened but free. Fabian fades away, his case finally closed. In the aftermath, the Sabbat invasion was blamed on a chemical leak, causing mass hallucinations. Lou fell from her penthouse window. With the city's leadership in shambles, a new prince is needed. Tally suggests that Fire, the nomad who remade the city, should take the throne. In the final confrontation, Fire faces the Sabbat leader. The battle is for the soul of the city. Fire, now free of the mark and Fabian's presence, must use their full power as the nomad to stop the invasion and decide the future of Seattle's kindred. A mysterious figure shoots Katsumi from a rooftop, revealing another layer to the conspiracy. Fire chases the shooter, a tough-as-nails woman who seems to be an independent player with her own vendetta against the city's power structure. She warns Fire that they are being played and the real threat is elsewhere. The ultimate flashback reveals Fabian's final moments. He figures it all out. Lou and Campbell were the Rebar killers all along. They wiped out their rivals and used the myth of a hunter to cover their tracks. Fabian confronts Campbell, but his mind is wiped again. Fire makes it back to the surface, finding the city in chaos. Lu and Ryang are in a standoff. Lu, feeling her power return as the gardener's influence wanes, makes her move to retake the city. She uses Sophia's death as a pretext to declare war on the Anarchs. The ultimate flashback reveals Fabian's final moments. He confronts Campbell with a hidden recording device, gets the confession, but is then forced to open a mysterious crate. Inside is a powerful elder vampire, Fire. Campbell is killed, and in the chaos, Fabian is diablerized by the newly awakened Fire. In the present, Fabian's consciousness says its final goodbye to Fire. With the full story revealed and his purpose served, he fades away, leaving Fire to face the final battle alone. The case is closed, and Fire must now define their own path as the Prince of Seattle. The final showdown with the Sabbat leader is brutal. It's a battle of wills as much as power. The Sabbat tries to use the Mark's lingering connection to dominate Fire, but Fire's identity as the Nomad, a survivor above all else, proves stronger. In the end, Fire emerges victorious. The Sabbat leader is destroyed, and her army of moonflowers withers. The city is saved, but its power structure is shattered. Lu is dead, Ryang is gone, and the Anarchs are scattered. Seattle needs a new leader, and all eyes turn to Fire.